Well, as you know, when my family bought the property on Old South Road in the early 80s, there was an asphalt plant next door. And of course, they changed into the residential housing and everything else. And of course, they didn't like us being next door to them, even though they bought next door to us. And over the years, people
Sounds like the airport.
got accommodated to what they're living next to, because people were buying houses sight unseen. It was a good deal. They bought it, and they came here, and they said, there's a truck on the other side of the fence. So little things like that, eventually they worked out the bugs, and they got used to it, just like living on a corner, living next to the airport, or whatever.
But certainly over the last year and a half, as part of this area work group, we have worked with the NAWSHOP board in the community to provide the necessary mitigation to help accommodate any of those concerns. And we have a written agreement that we are going to follow through with that allows us to screen appropriately and give them the protection they need from a use like this. We want to be a good neighbor. You know, unfortunately, the way the RC2 zoning sits today, you can have an asphalt plant beside a residential community. You can have a retail center beside a residential community. And the town has had the foresight to change that through their 2009 master plan. And that is why we spent a year and a half working with all our neighbors and the town to take their direction to be able to accommodate a master plan that insulates as much as it can residential from heavy commercial industrial. We want to be a good neighbor. You know, the liner buildings, that is clearly lined, you know, set up on Old South Road. Do you know where Bert Johnson's old business used to be? So that is going to be the defining factor that says, okay, these are the nature of the businesses that are going to be there. Lighter, less aggressive uses up front, and more heavier in the back, providing the necessary screening that's there.
The traffic, obviously, is an issue that would come up, and again, I'm sure you've dealt with this many times before
Certainly
with
have.
other projects. Who defines what's needed to improve the traffic situation, and who pays for it? How does that all work?
Sure. So in any given development in any particular municipality, if you're looking to develop a property, you're coming into that municipality and saying, this is an idea we have. It either fits within the zoning, it doesn't fit within the zoning, it has certain requirements. And you have to do it on the traffic side, you have to do a traffic study, which we did. And we hired a firm that did the same traffic study that was required for the roundabout on Sparks Ave. And they did a complete study and determined that there is enough area and spacing to provide the necessary accommodations that would be needed for a development on both sides of the road at its full capacity. We all know that the traffic on Old South Road is there today without any future development. The good news is that our development is going to be able to provide the mitigation measures to accommodate that problem and more. So we are a solution to that.
But who ultimately decides what those mitigation factors are going to be?
So we come forward to the town with a full traffic study. Then we come forward with a full plan of what we're proposing, which will then dictate what type of traffic measures are going to be required under the guidance of a certified traffic engineer. We then come into the town and propose it. The traffic commission and individuals study our plan, and they either accept it, ask us to do more study, ask us to add more, and until we get their approval, we cannot go forward with our project or do any of it. They have the ultimate say. And as you probably well know on Nantucket, if you're looking to do development, you really can't do anything in development-wise unless the town is fully supportive of it. There's lots of checks and balances that you have to go through for them to decide if it's appropriate for Nantucket.
What is going to, for both of you, Shane, why don't you answer this first? How are you going to define success with this project going forward? What's going to make you say to yourself, I've done a good thing here?
Well, to do a good job, I mean, I'm from here, I live here, my whole family's here. We're going to do the right thing for the island because I'm a native. You know what I mean? It's not like you're going to just say, well, I think I'm going to try this. We're going to do it the correct way to make it work for everybody. You know, you can put a lot of thought into it, you know?
And I think to take that one step further, a successful development is providing good business opportunities for existing businesses on the island to prosper and grow, to give existing people who want to start a new venture the opportunity to do it, whether it's a piece of land to purchase or to rent from us, whether it's a building or not, to provide additional services at a more competitive situation. On the supermarket side, to bring a supermarket that can provide better pricing, better variety and a more positive shopping experience. I think at the end of the day, Shane and I would like to be able to look back after 10 years and say, we built within the master plan, we gave lots of people on Island the opportunity to develop and start new businesses and to have more affordable prices and variety on the supermarket side. That would I think we would say we were successful if we were able to do that.
What if there is no supermarket?
Well, if there is no supermarket, then that business that sits there today, the Valero business, will stay right where it's at, and they'll continue. It's my understanding, I can let Shane speak to that, they've been here for generations, and their plan is to stay here for generations.
Without question.
So if there's no supermarket, the buildings stay up front. If there is a supermarket, they just move back and still continue to run their business.
We've said you've done it this many times before in other places. Are there particular challenges to doing it in Nantucket?
I think the benefit that's not as much of a challenge here than it is in other places is we own both sides of the road. We don't have our gun to our head. We don't have to say this has to be completed in 24 months. It can be completed in 10 years. So we want to be a good neighbor. We have the ability to be a good neighbor, get out into the community, understand what they want, and come back and deliver that to them at the appropriate time. So in some respects, there's less challenges here than in other situations we've had.
Very good. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. It'll be
Right.
very, very interesting, and I hope at some point you'll come back and we can talk again about it.
Very well.
Phil Passon, Shane Valero, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.